Hello and welcome to another SDE TV unboxing video. I'm your host Paul Sinclair, and today we're going to be looking at Paul McCartney's Flaming Pie reissue. This is the 13th album in his Archive Collection series, and it's always quite exciting when Paul McCartney releases an album. There's 5 formats in the Flaming Pie Deluxe collection. Starting from cheapest to most expensive, there's a 2 CD set. There's a 2 LP vinyl package, there's a triple vinyl deluxe set, then there's the main deluxe edition, which is a CD set. It's 5 CDs and 2 DVDs, that's this one here. And then this big beast at the back is the super duper collector's edition, which gives you everything in the deluxe edition. It also gives you the 3 LPs in the deluxe vinyl, and then it adds an extra LP and some prints and various other things. So we're going to have a look at all 5 formats. We're going to start off with the 2 CD and work our way up. So this is the 2 CD edition. It's very familiar for anyone that's bought any of McCartney's CD reissues before. We've got the Archive Collection strip down the side with Paul's signature at the bottom. That's the design on the back, and then it folds out with the 2 discs here and the booklet, which is actually stuck on the back of the card, which is, I think, how they've all been. Design wise, it's very, very similar to the original. Here's the booklet from the original, here's the reissue. Not much difference in tone, there's a slight variation, but it's pretty accurate. We'll talk about the bonus disc in a minute, but in terms of actual printed material in the 2 CD set, they more or less exactly repeat what was in the original CD booklet. So even this intro here with Paul talking a bit about how he was inspired by the Beatles anthology, but all this stuff here where he writes about where he wrote the song and quotations and the credits and all that, all this is identical to the original CD. So just to show you what I'm talking about, this is the original CD booklet. You know, so you've got, the only difference is this is square because it's slotted into a jewel case. But you can see everything here is almost identical. And then on the new one, it's just a little bit more of a rectangular shape, but design wise it's more or less identical. Of course, when you get to the very end, there's some information about bonus tracks here. But I mean, it's very nicely done. I always like the design around the Flaming Pie. If you're looking for a space to put the sticker that's on the front, I might recommend this space here. So yeah, so it's 2 discs. I mean, even the designs of the discs are quite similar. So this was the original Flaming Pie CD, and then this is the reissue CD, so they've kept it fairly much the same. And the second disc design uses the photo that Linda took of Paul, which the cover derives from. So let's just summarise what we're seeing here. There is no annotations, there's no essays, there's no notes, there's nothing to really explain the bonus audio within this package. Chris Heath has written an essay, written some notes which are in the deluxe edition, but there's nothing from that in this edition, so that's a bit of a limitation. But we must focus on the bonus audio, which is particularly good on this 2 CD set. So it's not actually printed on the back. When you get the seal of this, there's a transparent sticker which tells you the audio, so if you're wondering. Obviously it's in the booklet as well. So let's just have a look at it. Now, you know, fair play. I think Paul McCartney's approach to bonus content has really matured throughout this process, and we've got 21 bonus tracks on the second CD here, which are a selection from the bonus disc in the deluxe edition. So it doesn't repeat one disc in its entirety, it just cherry picks some content from the bonus discs in the deluxe edition. To put that into some kind of perspective, Wings at the Speed of Sound had 6 proper songs as bonus content on that disc. Flowers in the Dirt had 9 bonus demos. You know, this has got 21. So in fact, Flowers in the Dirt had, do you remember the cassette demos for Flowers in the Dirt Deluxe Edition? They were download only. Some of the demos on here are exactly that, they're cassette demos, so they're now on the CD. The World Tonight is a cassette demo. If You Want To is a cassette demo. some days home recording as a cassette demo. So suddenly cassette demos are okay to put on CD, but they weren't when Flowers in the Dirt happened. So rather than just criticise the omissions in the past, let's give credit that, you know, they are improving. And I think for $12.99, $14.99, whatever this is, you get a lot of extra audio. Let's just briefly talk about that audio actually. The first series of tracks are home recordings, so they're kind of pretty basic demos, but very interesting, normally Paul on the acoustic guitar, just mapping out the song. Then we move on to some more polished demos, like the Beautiful Night demo from 1995. There's a run through of Beautiful Night. Quite interestingly, there's a rough mix of a song called Whole Life on here, which is a song that Paul later worked on with Dave Stewart. It came out in 2003 on a Nelson Mandela charity EP, but it's only the rough mix on here because this is from 1995. The actual finished track was 2003, so we may see the finished version on a future reissue. There's an acoustic version of Great Day, Calico Skies, and then at the end you get the B-sides, which is great. You know, it really is a good selection, and I have to hand it to them. Some of the B-sides are really interesting. Love Comes Tumbling Down is from way, way, way back, 1987. I mean, Paul sat on that for 10 years and put it on the B-side to one of the singles from this album. That's one of the tracks that he did with Phil Ramone in the mid to late 80s. And then the other one, Same Love, that's only a year later, that's 88. And that's the kind of Flowers in the Dirt, early Flowers in the Dirt sessions. Hamish Stewart plays on that, for instance. So that's quite interesting. So those two in particular sound quite different to anything on the album. They sound a bit more produced, which I actually quite like. So that's the Flaming Pie 2 CD set. So this is the Flaming Pie 2 LP edition. The album originally came out as on a single disc, so this is new, the fact that it's spread over 2 LPs. What do you notice that's different about this archive collection vinyl version of Flaming Pie? There's no strip down the side. It's the first time they've put the vinyl out without that strip down the side, which is interesting. I mean, it never made sense to have that strip down the side because the whole point of that strip was to make a rectangle out of a square for the Digipack CD editions. So putting a strip down the side on a square, all that meant was they had to make the artwork slightly smaller. So it was kind of nonsensical to do that on the vinyl, other than for just sheer branding. I mean, a great example of that is the Pipes of Peace vinyl. Here we go. So the whole point of this vinyl was it's supposed to fold out and you're supposed to see the whole image, but instead you've got this stupid strip down the middle which kind of spoils everything. Maybe someone at MPL, at Paul's team, have just decided, especially given that this is quite a nice piece of artwork to look at, that, you know, do we actually want the strip down the side? They've decided against it. It'll be interesting to see on the next one whether they carry on or not. So this is a gatefold. We'll look at that booklet in a minute. All very nice, done in the usual style. Good photos, sepia toned, etc. These are very thick card sleeves and they're not polylined. That's slightly weird. I mean, they feel good quality, but they're not printed and they're not polylined. This is sort of somewhere in the middle. A little bit surprising. I would have thought if they were just going to go for black inners, that they'd go for the polylined version. The second record's identical, same sleeve. And this booklet comes with the 2 LP vinyl. Very nice. It's just an enlarged version of the CD booklet, really. But nicely done. Looks like it's about 8 inches, something like that. But they've chosen not to do it as a 12-inch by 12-inch booklet. So that's the Flaming Pie 2 LP set. So here we go up a notch. This is the 3 LP deluxe vinyl. So there's two different vinyl packages for this. The only time that's happened before in a Paul McCartney archive collection release was Red Rose Speedway and Ram. Red Rose Speedway had a special double album package, and Ram had a mono version, so there's 2 vinyls for that as well. This is actually an outer slipcase. You'll see they have got the Archive Deluxe Edition stripe, but it's like a giant Obi strip. I'm a bit surprised they didn't do this with the 2 LP set, to be honest, because that would have kept the branding and the style but allowed the album artwork to shine. I'll just show you what this looks like on the back. It just summarises what's in the package. It's 3 vinyl records, all 180 gram, half-speed mastered. This is basically the album plus an extra vinyl record featuring largely home recordings. So the Flaming Pie logo is sort of debossed on the front. That looks good. And the same with the back. The writing is debossed. Quite minimal, pretty cool. If we slide the contents out, so this is just an outer slipcase. It's not the sturdiest, but it's okay, I think, just about. It's not like really thick. So what we get here is we've got the normal double album. One of the things I like about this is they haven't just put in the normal 2 LP. If you buy the triple album, you get Flaming Pie written in red on the front, whereas the standard double is black. It's kind of attention to detail. They, would have been easier to just print one gatefold sleeve and use it for both, but they've chosen not to do that. So you can identify this from the 3 LP set by the fact that it's got red writing on it, and it's different on the back as well. You can see it's written in red on the back as well. Okay, the labels are the same. I thought they were different. It's probably on the collector's edition that they're different. So you get the same inner sleeve, you get the same booklet, and this, to be honest, this was probably in the other one. I just didn't find it tucked away, but you get a special embossed card. I don't know if you can see that in the light there, but there's an embossing which says Paul McCartney's half-speed mastering, Abbey Road Studios. And there's a little note by Miles Shaw, who did the half-speed mastering. That's quite nice. But the reason you're buying the triple vinyl is because you get an extra vinyl record, and this is the extra record with some Flaming Pie stamps on the front. Nothing much on the back. It's quite minimal, similar in style to the Ram mono. There's a tiny little sticker here just giving some information which you can remove if you want. And this is quite coolly done. It's kind of promo style, really, white label kind of approach to the bonus material. The red vinyl sleeve is actually thinner than the black ones. And this card here just tells you what's going on in this bonus vinyl record. So you basically get a selection of home recordings, and it also includes the 1995 demo of Beautiful Night. So in total 11 tracks, so about half the number of bonus tracks on the second disc in the 2 CD set. But anyway, nicely done. I mean, it's fairly expensive, this. It's 60 quid, this 3 LP set, which isn't exactly cheap. There's no doubt there's a lot of attention to detail, there's a lot of quality in the presentation. So these two slot nicely back into the slipcase. The only thing that is going to happen is this is going to get a bit annoying, because how's that going to stay on? It's not really. I think they might have been better doing it at the top, maybe, I don't know, but I think inevitably you're just going to have to fold this and store it inside. So there you go, that's the SD recommendations. Slide your little Obi strip between the 2 records, and then you're good to go. It's a nice looking package. That's what it looks like on the spine. It's the Flaming Pie Paul McCartney. It's kind of done in the style of the deluxe editions, actually. Now, interesting to see the MPL logo quite prominently. Not sure I've seen that before on the archive reissues. So that's the vinyl out of the way. Let's look at what a lot of people will be interested in, which is the deluxe edition. If you've been collecting the deluxe editions, it's going to be pretty hard to resist getting the deluxe for Flaming Pie. It comes in the same kind of packaging that previous sets have come in, so these strengthened corner pieces to protect the corner of your deluxe edition when it's in transit. This is all sealed, of course, and then there's the backing sheet at the back. These are numbered. So let's open it up and take a look. So how does it feel? Well, it feels quite similar to some of the early sets actually. It has that kind of linen cloth feel to it, not dissimilar to sort of McCartney 2, Band on the Run. It looks pretty spectacular. I love this dark blue. Continues the theme of putting the album cover on the front without the text on it, so that's nice and clean. You can see the spine there is the usual style. So for example, just to give you a point of reference there, the biggest so far, the widest, has been Wings Over America. Flaming Pie is slightly thinner than that in terms of the dimensions, and it's bigger than Flowers in the Dirt, which was the 2017. Thinking about it, it's very similar in width to Red Rose Speedway. So if you've got a Red Rose Speedway, you'll know what I'm talking about. But there's something different about this deluxe edition which they've never done before. We've had books in the early days, then we had the box for Ram. We had some slightly different books for Venus and Mars and Wings at the Speed of Sound. And then since then we've had these outer boxes with books that slot into them. So we've had that for Tug of War, Pipes of Peace, Flowers in the Dirt, Wildlife and Red Rose Speedway. So how is Flaming Pie different to the previous sets? Well, it's got a magnetic clasp and it opens like that. So that's magnetic there. And it folds all the way over flat and the contents are inside. They don't slot in to an outer box in the same way. I mean, it's not, there are some similarities with the Ram box actually. The Ram box wasn't magnetic, but it kind of opened in a not dissimilar way. But anyway, I quite like it. I think it's quite nicely done. Interesting, they're still thinking of new ways to present, new ways to construct these deluxe sets. So this note here on the left hand side, there's a handwritten note. This is Paul's note from the booklet. So presumably he's written that out by hand for this deluxe set. And let's take a look at what's inside. So this is the Flaming Pie book. I mean, I'm looking at this for the first time, so I haven't seen this before either. This is what you might call the main book in the set. It's quite an interesting way of doing it. You can see there it's kind of a book with some thick kind of cardboard front and back covers. It's kind of slightly unusual. But that's obviously the cover image, and that was the sleeve that was used for the first single, Young Boy. And this has been written by Chris Heath, who some of you might know from his work with the Pet Shop Boys. He's a great writer. And I mean, I haven't read this, haven't looked at this yet, but these books are always brilliant. It looks like the usual collection of great photos, the odd pullouts. There's some Flaming Pie recipes from Linda. That looks like some alternative cover ideas. So that's book number 1 in this set. This is the folio that contains the discs. It's quite thick actually. So let's just go over what's in this box set then. So it's 5 CDs and 2 DVDs. The reason this is thick is because it's got this booklet in the side, which this is actually the same booklet that was in the triple vinyl, or the same size anyway, different cover. And at the back here we've got tells you the contents. So CD2 is home recordings, various home recordings. That's 11 tracks in total. In fact, that second CD, the 11 tracks, that's the same 11 tracks that are on that third vinyl record. So There's probably that's the reason why there's only 11 tracks on CD2, because they wanted to replicate it totally for the vinyl, because they could have put more than 11 on there. I mean, they've got 21 on the 2 CD set, so they have rather spread them out a bit, let's be honest about that. But CD2 is called Home Recordings, CD3 is called In the Studio, and this is a combination of acoustic, more polished acoustic versions than the Home Recordings, some demos, a run through of Beautiful Night with Ringo, some rough mixes from the album, something that Paul didn't really do that much of on his archive reissues until last time around with Wildlife and Red Rose Speedway. CD4, which is called Flaming Pies. These are the B-sides from the era, and this disc also has the Ubu Jubu kind of radio session things, which were all on the original CD singles. They've been slightly edited, which I'm not sure why, but everything is there more or less, I think, that was on the CD singles. And CD5 is an audio documentary, basically. It's not the same as, but similar in style to the way that they had the audio documentary on Band on the Run. Basically, it says here it's a direct transfer from a production mastered DAT that was produced by Eddie Puma, and parts of it were used to make the Flaming Pie radio special. So basically it's Paul in his studio wandering around demonstrating some of the instrumentation like the mellotron and the harpsichord, etc., and talking about various things. I don't know how long this goes on for, but it's an audio documentary type disc. And then there's 2 DVDs, which are In the World Tonight, which has already been out on DVD, and that's 73 minutes. It's quite long actually, but that was the kind of documentary that came out around the time. And the second DVD are promo videos, and there's an EPK, which is electronic press kit, and various other bits and bobs. There's a TFI Friday performance. I mean, the 2 DVDs were a little bit disappointing in a way, because videos and a documentary that's already been out, you'd hope they might have something a bit more interesting than that. There's a David Frost interview here. But the high-res version of the album, which comes with the download, I wish they put that on a DVD. I don't know why they don't. It's a very, very easy thing to do, and it doesn't really cost them anything to do that, so I find that a bit strange. But anyway, so it's 7 discs. There's no coming soon card like they used to do, so it just tells you the previous. So the discs have all quite nice black and white photography picture labels. That's quite nice. Oh yeah, this is the album. I was just wondering what that disc was. So this is all the bonus content. So that's the bonus 4 CDs and the 2 DVDs there, but then the actual album is there. So when you open it up, you see the album first, effectively. So that's basically the discs. And then what we're left with are a couple of photo wallet things. There was one exactly like this in RAM, you might remember. So this one here contains handwritten lyrics, doodles, etc. This is like emptying Paul's top drawer in his kitchen and finding all sorts of stuff. I mean, the way they do this, you've got to admire the attention to detail. The paper is always quite appropriate. Look, they're double-sided. They print everything double-sided. I mean, they try and replicate it. This is the Flame newsletter. Not really sure what this is all about, to be honest. But the second one has Linda and Paul written on it. I think this might be the Club Sandwich. Yeah, this is the Club Sandwich, a recreation of the Paul McCartney's fan club was called Club Sandwich.
After Linda died, they just wrapped it up and closed it down.
This was the edition of Club Sandwich when Flaming Pie came out. So this is actually really nice. They should have done this for some of the previous reissues. There's quite a lot of information. Look, Mark Lewison, who seems to be slightly ostracised from the kind of inner clique of the Beatles group these days, but he was still working with Paul at this time. So talk about the songs, who plays what. So this is a really nice edition, actually. There's a great bit of bonus content. And finally at the bottom is this little hardback songbook. Includes a little photo of Paul's Hofner bass, with Hofner bass written on the back. This seems to be just notes about who's playing what on each track. Another photo there. So it's kind of like a little guide to instrumentation, who's doing what. So that's lots in there. Club sandwich, handwritten lyric sheets, and the Flaming Pie newsletter thing. These are all the discs. That book slot's in the top, and you close it up, and that's it. It's nicely done. I mean, we have to mention the price of this. This is over £200. I mean, it's £230, I think. It's about £100 more expensive than Flowers in the Dirt was. You know, why it's that expensive, you know, whether it's worth it, that's a whole other debate. But it's clearly a very expensive product. This is the deluxe edition. They've got you by the balls to a certain degree, MPL and Capital. Because if you've got all the other 12 deluxe editions, you're going to want this. There's no doubt about it. But anyway, this isn't the most deluxe edition. That's the interesting thing. There's the collector's edition. So we don't want to give you this. We want to give you the collector's edition. So let's take a look at the collector's edition of Flaming Pie. So if you want to see how big this collector's edition is, there are 4 previous deluxe editions which still aren't big enough to cover the entire span of this one collector's edition. It's actually 0.6 of a metre long and about half a metre wide. And it comes in this bespoke brown box. And I haven't actually opened this yet. I haven't looked in it, so we're going to see. But if you're thinking, oh, it's in a big box and it's a small edition, well, you think again, it's not. So it's got this bespoke printing at the front, tells you that you've got Paul McCartney Flaming Pie Collector's Edition, and then it's numbered at the bottom. This, I've got number 0 because this is actually a promotional copy which Paul's team have sent me. This thing opens up. It opens up like that, and if I just zoom in here, because this thing's far too heavy to lift. Yeah, so here we go. So let me just zoom in a bit more. This is pretty tricky, but there's a section at the bottom that says miscellaneous. And this is the stuff, I think, which is kind of unique to this box. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Anyway, let's have a look at it. So it's enormous. We've established that. There's a little sticker here which has the Flaming Pie logo on. This set costs 520 quid, so they've protected it. That's the bottom. Look at the size of this thing. So here is the standard deluxe. So that is the standard deluxe there. Next, I mean, it's amazing and ridiculous all in one go, I think. I mean, it's absolutely enormous. I mean, I've got no idea what shelf anyone can put this on. As you can see there, it's got an alternative shot which he's using at the front cover. It's not the album. Well, it is the album photo, but it's the whole uncropped image, which is printed on the same kind of glossy photographic paper as the deluxe. So it's a lift-off lid box. Okay. So inside, that's Paul's note. That was in the inside front cover of the deluxe book. Smells nice. This is the same kind of linen bound cloth as on the deluxe. So what have we got here then? So we've got a ribbon to access the information. So I think these are the limited edition prints that come with this set. So yeah, so these are limited edition Linda McCartney art prints. Now obviously art prints can be very expensive, so I imagine that's how they justify the price of this set, which is, as I said, it's over £500. Carefully have a look at them. So each print has got, trying to get the light on there. Don't know if you can see that, but it's hard to get the light on it. But there's an embossed Flaming Pie logo at the bottom there. Obviously, it's very high quality art paper. Yeah, I mean, they're very impressive. Yeah. I know it's probably a bit much to ask, but you kind of think maybe Paul could have signed one of these, even just one print for a £500 box. Would that have been asking too much? I don't know. But that's the cover shot. There's with silver ink. Looks pretty fantastic. That's a beautiful shot of Linda. This is the fairly familiar cover shot from Young Boy. It's another quite good shot of Paul, which is familiar if you've owned the record, because that appears in a number of places. And it continues on in this vein. Linda again. There's 6 art prints in total. I mean, this one here is the best one. You know, if Paul had signed this, then they would have sold out of these collector's editions in about 5 minutes, I think. So they slide back in. So yes, I mean, that's pretty impressive. It's very nicely done, and it's got this tie here. So this is the vinyl, I think. So what this is the 2LP, the bonus home recordings, and a special extra vinyl disc of the Ballad of the Skeletons, which was Paul with Allen Ginsberg and a few other people. It's on CD in the deluxe set. Now, having pointed out that the 2 different Flaming Pie vinyls have different coloured print on the front, this is the 3rd variation, because this doesn't have any print at all. Yeah, so you get a Flaming Pie plectrum, or pick, as they say in America. You know, only people that buy the collector's edition get this packaging without any writing on it. Other than that, it looks fairly much like the standard double vinyl. Same labels and all that. So that's the 2LP set. The home recordings bonus album looks identical to what we saw in the 3LP. And this is the bonus vinyl record. So it's got an embossed design on the front here. Ballad of the Skeletons. And this is a poster here of the artwork. But it is literally one song. The other side of this is embossed. So one side is a playable disc, which is that side, and then the other side has an embossing on it, which you should be able to see there in the light. So this is exclusive to the collector's edition. And then the rest of what's in here, if you look in there, you can see the rest of what's in here is the same as the deluxe edition. So it's the same book. It's the same folio with all the discs. And it's the same 2 envelopes there. And at the bottom it's the same songbook. So this box is just like a giant expanded, it's just a bigger version of the deluxe edition. It's got different levels of, you know, holes in it to slot things in. So that book goes there. So this inner section here is really like the inside of the deluxe edition. So there are 2 envelopes. That's the discs and that's the book. So at this point in time, that is the deluxe edition effectively. You don't have the outer case, but that is the contents of the deluxe edition. So to be crystal clear, what you're getting extra is you're getting all the vinyl, which is available separately, plus this bonus Ballad of the Skeletons disc. I'm not going to try and put everything back in that outer band, but you get the Flaming Pie pick. And then the really big thing are these wonderful art prints where there's 6 of them in this card kind of slipcase thing. That goes on the top. So it's massive. It's really heavy. There's a construction at the back. It's got a silver flaming pie on it. So it's quite, I mean, it's interesting in some ways, because what do we think about this? You know, what do we think about it in terms of value? What do we think about it in terms of wow factor? In some ways, it makes the deluxe edition look like pretty good value, because the triple vinyl is £60, and you know what you're getting on top, what you're getting extra is the prints and the extra vinyl, the 1 vinyl record with the Ballad of the Skeletons on it. So if you bought the deluxe edition and you bought the triple vinyl. Say you buy the deluxe edition for $230, you buy the triple vinyl for $60, you've spent nearly 300 quid. But this is £520, so the 220 extra is giving you the limited edition art prints. It's giving you that exclusive vinyl record, and it's giving you this wow factor enormous presentation. Now this deluxe set, it actually reminds me of the Dennis O'Regan Ricochet deluxe book, which I was lucky enough to see. I don't actually own a copy of that, but I saw a copy, and it was a giant book in a limited edition box set, and it had a red vinyl limited edition in it, and it had various prints and, you know, lots of other bits and bobs. It was quite impressive. It had some little books that sat on the top of the big book, but in effect it was a giant book with some extra stuff. And to put this into some perspective, the Dennis O'Regan book was over £3,000. So in that context, you know, £500 for this, it doesn't actually seem too bad. I mean, I'm loath to even say that, but you know, when you look at those prints, the only thing about those prints are they're not numbered, they're not hand numbered, they're not signed. I do think the icing on the cake would have been for Paul to have signed one of those prints in each of these boxes. There's 3,000 of these, I believe is the correct figure, so that's the limited edition. I don't believe they've sold out. I mean, the Wings, the Paul McCartney and Wings 1971 to 1973 box set sold out virtually instantaneously. That was about £320 compared to this, compared to the 520 for this. It was quite a bit cheaper. And also, let's be honest, I think that Wings era is of more interest to more people. I mean, you could say, arguably, you know, who wants such a lavish box set of Flaming Pie? I mean, Paul clearly thinks it's worthy of this kind of presentation. And Paul McCartney is a massive artist. He's got enough fans where I'm sure they'll sell out. It's pretty spectacular. You just wish that if they were going to do something this flashy, they could have done it with Band on the Run. They could have done it with Ram. I mean, the Ram box set was pretty good. There's a certain irony in the fact that we're getting to the late stages of the archive reissue campaign, where all the classic albums to a certain degree have been done, and it's at this point in time where the packaging is getting flashier and flashier, and Paul's also embracing his audio archive a bit more, digging deeper into there, putting in rough mixes, you know, cassette demos. All that stuff's coming out now in a way that it didn't before. Yeah, so to summarise, I think there is a format for every pocket and every level of interest. I mean, going back to the original 2 CD, that's a great little package, it really is, and it's £15. I think any criticism that you might want to level at Team McCartney, they would just say, well, if you know, we're not forcing you to buy it. There's 21 bonus tracks on the 2 CD set, and that's if you don't want to fork out a lot of money, then just pay £15 and get that. And the vinyl packages are really great. I mean, it's the first time I believe they've done half-speed mastered vinyl straight out of the box for a reissue. Feels very, very weighty, very, very heavy, and you know, they have given you the option of just buying the album without the bonus material, which again is something they've never really done before, thinking about it. Normally when the archive reissues come out, normally the only vinyl option, unless there's something special going on like Ram Mono, but the only vinyl option is album plus bonus tracks. But because I guess this is a double, they've decided to do two versions, a triple with the bonus tracks and a double without. So it's actually worth noting that that's the first time they've done that. Just an album only at the point of the reissue. Deluxe vinyl is a nice step up. I mean, it's not cheap, £60, but I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed. And of course, the standard deluxe edition is as good as you'd expect it to be, I think. I mean, the only kind of grumbles I have are that Paul has this habit of putting out all these interesting bonus tracks on his website that aren't actually going to be on the deluxe edition. So for example, there's a version of Some Days without the orchestra, which is really interesting. I mean, I'd love to have that on one of these CDs. Why isn't it there? The full 1986 version of Beautiful Night, which is in one of the Ubu Jubu things, edited, but the full version Paul made available on his website a week or so ago. Why isn't that on CD in this set? Especially when you're paying £200 plus. So, niggles remain, but I think the quality of the presentation and the quality of the offering is pretty outstanding, I think, overall. Yes, it's very expensive. Yes, why can't he do £40 deluxe editions like other people? I mean, all those questions will remain, but I think as a body of work, the 10 years of these archive reissues, I mean, you look at them all sitting on a shelf, it's pretty damn impressive. So this is Paul from Super Deluxe Edition taking a look at Paul McCartney's Flaming Pie reissues. Now these are out on Friday the 31st of July, and if you're interested in any of these editions other than the big collector's edition, they are available to purchase on the stshop.com. Thanks a lot and see you next time.